Good morning, students.
Good morning.
Good job.
Good job.
Okay, so today we're going to learn about DNA. Have you heard about DNA? What is DNA?
DNA about healthy.
About your health. Okay.
Yes.
How about crime? When somebody commits a crime and they find them with DNA. You know?
Right?
Have you ever heard of a criminal being caught because of his DNA? Well, we're going to learn something about how that happens. All right, but before we do that, let's talk about, this is a real simple code that we did before. Computer code is much more complex, but it has some interesting ideas behind it. I can copy it. If I have this smartphone, can I get a copy of this game?
Yes.
I can have an exact copy of the game. You sure? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can. Okay, so you can copy a computer program, and it will work the same way. This is a very similar idea to DNA. What? DNA stands for, it's a chemical name, stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Long name, but the idea behind DNA is it's a code for life. Everything about you is in this code. Just like a computer code, so you start up this game, I ask you to start the game, we can start DNA, and it can make all the parts of your body. This one long code can reproduce blood cells, and brain cells, and skin cells, all in this code. So how does this code work? So what does this look like to you? What kind of, have you seen anything that looks like this? What?
Ladder.
A ladder. Yeah, it's like a ladder. And the way this works is the code is in the rungs of the ladder. Okay? These chemicals, these pairs of chemicals, only match. So you see on this one, the blue and the red only match. They can be different, but the blue has to go with the red, the green has to go with the black. In DNA, chemicals are called, the letters for them are A, T, C, and G. So A and T go together, C and G go together, and you can have this combination too. You can have GC and TA. We'll understand later how does this code work. But for right now, this is what DNA looks like when you make it really big. It's very, very, very small. Okay. These chemicals, by the way, are adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. Hard names to remember, but the letters aren't so hard. You can think of, what is the word? You see any word in here that you can remember? A word, a common word. A preposition. At. Okay? So if you just remember at, then you know which ones go together. 1952, Rosalind Franklin took pictures in X-rays of a DNA molecule. That was a critical a step. And she found out it was made up of 2 spirals. So a spiral, what is a spiral? Knife, come up here. You want to use your arm. Okay, so hold your arm out here. A spiral is a structure like this. Okay, you see? That's a spiral. And then with the DNA, it's connected inside the spiral with these ladder rungs. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Next. In 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick made a more complete model of the DNA, and they ended up winning the Nobel Prize for discovering, really, the code of life. One of the most important discoveries ever in science. Go right in this way. When you have the 2 together, make a little fold like this. And then staple this like this. Then on the other side, you're going to staple a T, and then staple these together. So it's going to end up like that. Okay? Don't choose a pattern, just pick any one. And then you want, let's say, 4 of these ladder rungs for each one of these. Okay? So the class is going to make 4 of these models, and we'll see who can make the best one. Okay? Understand? All right. Yes. Yeah, you guys are good. Exactly. Okay. So we got 2 beautiful models of what?
DNA.
DNA.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Rafa, can you come up and assist me here? So, this is like a ladder, but the way DNA is structured, it's called a double helix. So the ladder is twisted. Hold the bottom part, please. Just hold it still. And right up here. Okay. So the structure is like this. It's twisted around like that. Okay? Yeah, that's good. All right? So you see?
Yes.
Now, one of the advantages of this twisted structure is it can collapse into something very, very small. So when it gets rolled up, it's a really long string, but it can fit into a really small space. Let's think about the scale. What if we had a cell? A cell, remember the cell has, inside the nucleus is the DNA. And this is a cell blown up about 1,000 times. Okay? So, if we had the DNA on that scale, so we had a piece of DNA in here, and the cell was, you need a microscope to see a cell, but you can get a microscope that can make it blow it up 1,000 times. So, if we could see the nucleus at this scale, how long would the DNA be? How long do you think? If you were to take the DNA, it's all coiled up, like we had the coil, and unwind it, it's about 3 kilometers long.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
3 kilometers.
Oh, there goes.
Very long. Very, very long. Okay, what if we had DNA on this scale, a strand of DNA that looked like this? How long would it be? How long would if we made a strand and we made it bigger, like really huge, where it was this size, how long would it be? From here to Egypt. Seriously. If you made DNA this big and you unrolled it, it would roll all the way out to Egypt. Okay, so we talked about how does DNA duplicate? Well, there's something called, there's a chemical called DNA polynase that cuts. It cuts the strand in two. And once you cut it in two, you can make a duplicate. Stand for adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. I think it's much easier to see what you're doing when you put it together yourself. You can kind of see. I think you're going to remember the shape of a DNA molecule. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Right. So we have the DNA molecule. It was like this, and we took scissors on our model, but inside the molecule, there's a molecule that works like scissors that cuts this in two. Okay. Now we want to make a copy. How can we do that? How can we make? We don't have this side anymore. We only have this. How can we make a copy of the DNA? You know how a magnet works? You take a magnet and it clicks the metal. These molecules work just like magnets. They're very similar to magnets. Really, at the small atomic level, they are like magnets. When they get close to each other, they can click. Okay? So will these two click? Are these going to click? Why not? Ah, okay. Will these two click? No. Will these two click? Yes. What if you have a whole bunch of loose ones down here, and they're like magnets, right? And then I run this over, it's going to pick up. All right, so what's red going to pick up? See, put it up there. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. And blue is going to pick up, and so on. Until finally, you have them all with their pairs, and then the other part of the ladder sticks on here. Okay. What happens when there's damage to DNA? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got a problem.
Damn.
This is also like a magnet. This spot cannot be empty, but it can take any other piece. It doesn't have to take the piece that came off. It can take any other piece. So let's say this one came in here instead. That was a T. Now we got a G. And now we have a different DNA molecule. This process is called mutation, and it's how life changes. Over time, these small changes happen, and it changes the code, and then we get a different result. So, one of yours, then I will know this came from you. Okay? So, let's see if I can match Hadi. Does this match?
No.
Turn it around the other way. No. Let's see if it matches over here. Look at that. We got a perfect match. This is how, when you hear about, when they say there's a DNA match, this is what they're doing. So taking a sample of DNA and seeing if it lines up with a DNA of somebody else. Okay, so that's all I had.